We're told in the very first chapter that Job was one who feareth God and shuns evil. And that was the testimony he maintained and sustained throughout his life. The second part of our analysis is the phrase, that my. And here we have a personal claim, for that's what my means. My is something belonging to me. The man or woman of God does not need to depend upon cold, squabbling international committees, nor broken systems, nor broken promises, nor poor politics. My here indicates an acceptance of another, an abdication of self. You see, to be self-centered is to be an immense distance from God. A vicar was disturbed one week when he was hearing reports about some members of his congregation that he decided the following Sunday to bring a coffin in and place it beneath his pulpit with the lid open. At the appropriate time, he called upon his congregation to leave their seats and come down, past the coffin and look in, and whatever they saw, they were to bury. You see, the vicar had at the foot of the coffin a mirror. And what he was calling for was the burying of self. The term my tells me that a semi-detached philosophy is made redundant. Christians do not worship an unknown God. Now, if you look at your local newspaper's church notices, you won't find there an invitation to come and worship an unknown God. The Christian's God is a personal experience, a relationship. Therefore, we can say that Christianity is not a mere religion, but on the positive side, it is a relationship between God and his creature, man. And this is made possible only through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. The term I reflects the meaning as own, individual, undivided attention. God is constantly, consistently, and continuously in touch with his own. The final part of this analysis is centered on the phrase, Redeemer liveth. I know that my Redeemer liveth. What a great comfort. I'm sure that most of us will have experienced the emotion of grief at some point in our life. For some of us, several times in our life. But you know, the Christian's grief has a difference. For he or she knows that the promise of God is simply this: to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And it's that type of promise that carries the Christian through this kind of emotion. True, I can see that my grief may change my appearance, but it cannot cheat me of the consolation of my faith. The verb redeem means to ransom, rescue, pardon, reclaim. And this is all achieved through the death of Jesus Christ on the cross. Job says, I know that my Redeemer liveth. Job's Redeemer was the God of the Exodus, the God of the exile, the God of action. For us, redemption is made possible through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Professor James Denny claims that the death of Christ is the central theme in the New Testament. This is Denny's book claiming this point. For me, the central theme of the New Testament is the death, but also the resurrection of Jesus Christ. By his death and resurrection, Jesus has emptied death of its sting. Jesus has emptied the grave of its victory. Jesus has emptied the sepulchre of its claim. A major lesson I believe that we all need to understand is just this. The Old Testament is the New Testament concealed. The New Testament is the Old Testament revealed. I want to thank you for your company and for sharing and listening to this, the first of 7 pillars.